In today's workout, we'll be focusing on glute exercises we can do with a reformer setup. Now, I'm using the Allegro 2 from Balanced Body. You can use a regular reformer, and we'll be including the long box for a few exercises as well. So just have that handy. The other thing I'm including for today's workout is a glute loop. You don't have to use the same one I have, but I like this one. This is from Committed Hip. It's called the Better Band. It comes with 3 levels of resistance in one band. So there's 1, 2, 3. You can hook it on and put it in different orientations on your legs as well. Great prop for a lot of you that are looking for a glute band that does stay where it's put. All right, you guys, let's go ahead and get started. First position, in order to access our glutes, we need to talk about rotation in our hip area here. We want to get rotation in our hip joint, our hip capsule, so we can access range of motion for our workout. So it's a way to prime your body to really get more glute connection. A lot of you guys are messaging me, how do I turn my glutes on? How do I do that? The key is with mobility and making it active versus passive. So the first position we're going to do is lay on our side. And this is the side lying hip circle or hip car, controlled articular rotation. But you can do this on the mat as well. I'm just doing it on the reformer. I get my feet, my knees at 90 degrees. I am pushing a little bit into my arm, activating my core, and that really helps me stay connected. Other hand is here. I'm going to go ahead and bring my heel to my glute to start from my top leg, open up to my hip level. I'm going to be starting by opening through, holding, hips are nice and stacked, flipping, push behind, and then pulling back forward. Okay, so it's an open, it's a flip and push and pull back. So it's the external to internal and then pull forward. Here's 4. Great way to really light up that glute tissue. And 5. Now we have to reverse it, right? So we're going to be pushing back. Feels like a quadricep stretch. Pushing up and back forward. 2. Now this is active. This is not passive, right? Look at all that control I have in my hip joint. 3. I'm not just swinging my leg around, okay? 4. It's very different. Feels very different. Do 1 more. 5. Lift and pause. Good. Let's do the other side. So I'll flip to the other side for all of you so you can see the hips staying nice and controlled. I've got the 90-degree right here, and then just pushing into my active arm. Other hand is here. Pull my heel towards my glute, lifting up to hip height. I come open, I come pushing back, and I come forward. I come open, push, and forward. Open, push, and forward. So think of the rotation coming from your hip joint. This is very helpful for a lot of you that really have lack of stability in their hip complex. You end up over-rotating or hip hiking. Good. And now let's go the other way. We push, we lift, pull forward. Feel that quad stretch right here. Then lift, forward. 3, 4. 1 more time. Push, lift, and 5. Very nice. Next, let's go ahead and bring our foot bar up. Our spring tension is going to be 1 red, and we're facing forward. So what I'd like for you to do is an internal hip stretch with activation of the glute that you just found in that side-lying hip circle. So I'm going to go ahead and bring my foot here on the opposite shoulder block, knee in the middle of the bed. My other foot's going to be out to the side, and I've got this little bit of rotation in my hip. So my femur is internally rotated. And when I get my arms right here, I can tuck slightly, and as I push the bed back on that 1 red spring, I just stop right here and I squeeze. Now what that is trying to do is really help you lengthen some of the tissue that's probably tight in the front to activate and squeeze your glute muscle behind you. This is not a static stretch. This is just holding this opposition, holding that for 5 breaths. So it's active, okay? It's not passive like a static stretch where you hold your hamstring and just Breathe. You're trying to actually activate your glute tissue. And then coming back and in. So it's very different. Let me show you what passive looks like just so you guys understand. Hanging out, right? So very different. It's not a lot of effort. You could sit there for probably 10 minutes. Okay, so let's do the active one again. Tuck forward, squeeze your bum, push back just to here. Hold what you have, breathing for 5. Actively working back here. Squeeze that bum for 4, for 3, for 2, and 1. Good, it'll help for the rest of the workout. We have one more on this side. Pushing back, holding at that level, squeezing for 5, 4, 3, 2, breathing, and 1. We have one more. Here we go. Holding here, 5 breaths. Holding the squeeze. It's already feeling a little bit different if you're squeezing that glute. Breathing and holding. One more breath right here. And then gently coming back and in. Good. So let's just go ahead and do the same thing on the other side 3 times. I'm going to go foot on the opposite shoulder block. I've got my knee in the middle. I've got this rotation happening on that hip joint, and I've got my hips still pointing forward. And then from that position, I'm going to turn my foot out here, and I push back just to that level I can control it. Squeezing that bum, holding that position, breathing for 5 breaths. And trust me, I know this seems kind of tedious when people are holding these stretches, but it makes a huge difference when you actually add load to your hip joint after you do that. So that's why it's really important to take your time and just prime your body appropriately. 2 more breaths, we hold. 1 more breath. Gently come in, just reset the exercise in the pelvis, tuck your tail, push back, hold, and just see how that already made a big difference. You're already feeling a little bit different in that front of your leg. Breathing here. Last 2 breaths. And 1 more breath. And coming all the way in. Excellent job. All right, so next up, we're going to grab our better band. I would love for all of you to have 2 red on the reformer, and that's just a bar at normal height. Now, if you want more spring tension for stability or even lighter to make it harder, that's up to you. Remember, the spring tension is all relative. The objective is that we're going to be really using the glutes and hamstrings and pushing outward on our band. So I would like you to start with a steadier bed. For that, headrest is down. Come all the way to your back, and I'll show you how to attach the better band. Okay, so we are coming over our legs right here. And today I'm on number 1, so that's the lightest amount of tension. It's not too tight, so I can easily push my knees apart into my band right here. My feet are a little wider than hip distance is fine. I've got some active push already outward. And then from here, steady with the bed. I bridge my body up. I hold 2, 3, and I lower back down. So your goal is to keep the bed steady. The 2 red for me is extra effort in my hamstrings to do that. And 3, and slow, and 4, and slow. 1 more right here, and return. So already, if you're using a glute band for that, you're feeling the sides of your glutes really kick in, and you've got a lot of that connection that you found from the beginning mobility movements. Now we're going to kick this up a level. We're going to get tighter on the band. And for those of you that don't have the better band yet, you can use a heavier band or just basically narrow your position slightly, but you're still parallel. Arms are long, and we're going to come into a march. So I want you to lift up and hold, and then lift one leg, and then slowly lower. Lift the other leg, slowly lower. So think of pushing the foot that's active into that bar. Breathing. Keep going. Lift. Pushing down. Lift. Good. One more each. Lift. And a lift. Very nice. And just start to roll your body back. So just notice already there's more work and more effort into the glutes right here. There's a lot more happening into the hamstrings as well. And it's keeping that hip stability, which is really tricky for that exercise. Nice. Okay, so now we're going to come on back to the number 1 setting, which is the lighter one. And I'm going to have my feet on my toes and my heels are together. So what that means is I'm going to get more of a frog position right here. Heels are elevated slightly. I've got to push out on my band. When I bridge up, I'm going to squeeze my heels and push out into my band. Feel my glutes and lower carefully. Exhale 2 and lower down. And really squeeze and breathe. 3 and 4. One more right here. This is all of you putting all of that mobility work into place and squeezing those muscles with the help of the better band. All right, you guys, let's remove our better band. We're going to go on to the next exercise. Bring your bar down. We're going to move on to more sideline work. And I showed you a little bit with the hip circles earlier, but now we're going to do them loaded, which is actually really good for the glutes. So 1 blue is all you're going to need. If you want heavier spring, you can definitely use a heavier spring. But keep in mind that the objective is going to be rotation with tension. So you want to make sure you can control that for your body, okay? So I'm going to go ahead and grab my long loop, side lying on my forearm, find my loop over my leg, and it lives right here. Now, your position of your forearm can be close to your shoulder blocks. I want you to have your legs stacked at 90 degrees. We're doing the same thing we did earlier, but loaded. Here we go. We're going to go ahead and lift, pull the heel to the knee. It's an open, it's a push, and then it's a pull forward. This feels very different with the strap and with the spring. So the resistance is there, and wow, you guys are really going to feel a lot more through that hip joint differently with the spring tension versus the body weight. Now, you could kick it up a little bit heavier if you wanted to. I like the blue because, again, I can keep my hips stacked and I can really feel that push back. Let's go the other way. Push, lift, forward, push, lift, forward. So already your legs are probably feeling much different than when you started this class. You're adding active mobility. You're actively using that tissue, not passively. And you're not repping it out, right? So it's more intentional. It definitely lasts a lot longer. And it works well for you to build that connection over time. All right, you guys, let's take that off. Let's do the whole thing on the other side. Here we go. Grab the strap, thread it over. We're on that thigh again, 90 degrees, nice and strong in our body here. And then we start pulling here. We go up, we push behind, we come forward. We open, we push, and forward. 3, and 4. Now I know each side's going to feel either less smooth or smoother, I should say, so just take it slow. If you're feeling like it's rough waters on one side, go slower. There's no race to get there faster. It's all about what you're connecting towards. And your last one, let's go into the other direction. Pushing, lifting forward. 2, lift. 3, lift. And then really feel that rotation as you push into the strap. and come on back. Let's take our friend off, bring that back where it lives, and get ready for the next exercise. Next up is one of my favorite ways to really stabilize your hips, talk to those glutes, and really isolate the side part especially, which is great. We're gonna be standing. I'm at the end of my reformer right here. Now I'm right up against my foot bar, and where I'm standing, I'm gonna stay in that same line and bring my foot here on the bed. I'm gonna be pushing my hips slightly back, bending my standing leg just slightly, and then this leg is going to focus on the internal hip rotation, which we've been doing so far in this class. So right here, nice and square in the trunk, pull your ribs in. Here we go, we got one red spring, pushing one, pushing two. So many variations in skating. This is one of my favorite ones. You can always hold a dowel or hold on to something on the side. Pushing out. Control that bed. Squeezing the side. And 10. Now we're going to pause at 10. I want you to hold for a second right here. This leg that was just on the bed, we're going to just take a few steps out, a few inches away from the foot bar. We're going to stand into my standing leg. And all I want you to do is keep this leg that was just working, hovering here in hip flexion, and really stand into this leg. So get nice and tall. We're going to hold. Squeeze your glute on the standing leg. Hold that for 5, for 4, for 3. I know it's hard. For 2, just root it down. And 1. Very nice. Replace your leg down. Turn to face the other way. Get your body close towards the foot bar. Here we go. Setting up. I've got this internal rotation this side. I've got this leg slightly bent. Hips and shoulders are square, and we're pushing out. 1 on the red spring. 2, 3, squeezing. 4, 5, 6, good. 7, notice the body doesn't move up here. 8, squeezing. 9, stabilize. 10, gently come in first, pause. Now remember, you're going to be standing into this leg that's already long. I want you to think about lifting up through your torso. We're going to begin to hover that leg that was just working. Stand and squeeze this side. Okay, so feel it for 5, 4, 3, 2, and then release that. All right, you guys, very nice. So a little bit more stability there, but really great for the glutes, both those positions. All right, so next up we have the long box on the reformer. Now, some of you don't have a yellow spring. Go slow if you're on your lightest spring. Just be really mindful about that. If this doesn't work for you, if it's too hard to stabilize, you can take this off completely and use your body on the reformer, either in a forearm position or arms in a 4-point. So either one's fine. I'm going to set up using the long box, and we'll talk about that. I'm on a yellow button. So light spring for me, just a tiny bit longer and heavier from that position. And this is a kick back exercise. So lots of stability in the core and the shoulders. You're not rotating, but you're extending into hip extension. So take it slow. Here we are. So this is my setup. Now, if you're on the reformer, take the box off. Same setup. You might be too long because the floor is in the way. You might be touching the floor with your foot. Instead, go out to the side. So that's another modification for some of you, but still does the work. Grab your loop. You're going to feed your strap carefully and balance when you're doing this into your foot. Okay, so now my strap is secure. I've got my hands on my box. My knee is in the middle of my box for my left side. Here comes my right leg. So this is challenging hip extension, which is glutes. We got to squeeze, 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 hold, 2, 3, gently come back. So keep it connected. My word of advice is right here is the hardest point because it's the most spring. Don't let your body collapse in your shoulders. If you do that, it's going to be really hard for you to stabilize through the exercise. Here's 4. Straight back. And 5. Straight back. And 6. Straight back. And 7. Straight back. One more time. 8. Woo! Straight back. Very nice. Bring your foot in. Pause. Come all the way back to home base. Bring your strap back where it lives. Set it for the other side. Grab your friend. Take your strap carefully into your foot. And this is just pure hip extension again. So notice your hips. Bring your middle knee into the middle of the box, or your other knee rather. Hips, try to go as stable as you can. Keep those arms active. We're starting here. Now, don't let your hips hike. Maybe one side likes to hike up. Remember that mobility from earlier. You want to take that right here. Think of the awareness, range of motion. 2. And slow. Keeping distance from your hip and your rib. 3. Lots of control. 4. Lots of control. 5. 6. Really feel that squeeze behind you. One more time. I know it's a tough one. Hold, squeeze it, and then gently return back. Very nice. Excellent job. Next position, turn the box to short box style, so it's up against your shoulder blocks. We're going to practice hip extension in a standing position in the well. So I've got my foot bar up at normal height. If you need to move that lower, that's fine. I've got one red spring in the middle of my attachment here versus the sides. And I'm just going to stand here briefly and go with my left foot in the well on the floor. And then here comes my right leg. So my right foot's on the box right here. Hips are forward, shoulders are square, arms are long. And I'm just going to go ahead and start to bend this left side. So I'm in more of like a runner's stance. From here, I'm going to go ahead and push my active right side, squeeze into the box. So there's hip extension. Use your arms for bracing and then back in. Exhale 2 and then back. Exhale 3 and back. And just notice what wants to work right here. You know, maybe you're trying to collapse in your upper body. Maybe you're not stabilizing your hips. We're trying to push back into space with that resistance on the box and squeeze that bum. Think of that lunge we did earlier. And push. 8. Last 2. One more. Push. Beautiful. Gently return back and in. Now I'm going to go ahead and stand on the bed as I switch my sides to get my foot placement here. And then just sliding my left foot where it is. Coming into that same stance. Get that knee soft. Proud chest. Focus on your left side. 1, squeeze it. Exhale 2, squeeze. Exhale 3. Feel the difference here? This is more stable, but you're able to push more behind. 5 more, pushing. 4. Good. 3. 2. Keep your body upright here. And your last one. Here we go. Push. Very nice. Come back. Go ahead and bring your body back up. And then off to the side. Last but not least, we're going to go ahead and thread our better band over our knees. And it's the same location, but we're going to have number 2. And it's just right here. So I'm in a seated position. I've got my feet and my knees stacked. And I'm just going to finish with seated hip abduction. So this is where I go out. I can move my ankles like that because it's all coming from the hip. And then go ahead and come back in. Exhale 2 and in. Exhale 3, in. Think about the spine nice and tall. Feel this right here on the sides. Definitely feeling that. Woo, side glute wake up here just to finish the class nice and strong. Good, keep going, press out. Good, we got 5 more. Squeeze. And 4. Here's 3. And 2. And your last one. Very nice. Okay, remove your better band. We're now going to do a static stretch. So this is passive. This is where you get to relax and breathe. We've done the workout. Now it's time to sit in that passive position. So figure 4, 1 foot over the knee. You don't have to push and force. I'd rather that you hold, lengthen, lean forward. So feel that glute area on the side and then breathe. This is not about forcing your body into a position that it's not ready for. It's about feeling the right area of your body stretching. So it's okay to add static stretches after. It's really great because it lets your body just relax back after you've done all of that contraction work in the muscle fibers. One more breath as we hold that hinge. And then gently release. Bring the foot back. Other leg across, nice and tall. Lean into it. Holding right here. So for some of you, one leg might be tighter in external rotation, the stretch that you're in right now, and that's okay. Just notice there might be a difference and there's room for improvement, right? It's not about trying to be perfect with your mobility. It's working towards that accessible mobility over time. So just be patient with your body as you do that. Good. Gently release back and down. Thanks so much for watching this video. If you guys enjoyed it, give it a thumbs up. If you enjoy my channel, make sure that you subscribe for more free workouts coming your way. If you guys have questions about today's workout, drop them in a comment box below. I will include the Better Band link in my description under the video in case you guys want to get this for yourself. Again, this is the light band. They have a ton of different ones that you can get, which is great because they are great to travel with. They pack up nicely and you can bring your workout really anywhere, which is super cool. And if you are looking for a reformer or upgrading a reformer, you're interested in something from Balanced Body like the Allegro 2, you can check out the description below. I have a 5% off discount for all Balanced Body orders. So because this is pretty darn expensive to invest in, it does help you a little bit with that purchase in case you guys are interested in that. So be sure to check that out as well. Thanks so much, and I will see you next time.